Welcome into CanesPowerPlay podcast number 18. In today's episode, we're going to cover Game 2, talk about Game 3 a little bit, kind of preview that upcoming. We've got the Logan Stankoven podcast on this as well, so make sure you guys stay and tune in for that. Follow the social medias at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check out CanesPowerPlay podcast, you probably already are. Check out the website, CanesPowerPlay. Let's get into Game 2 and kind of the ends of that. I've got Gabe Shaw joining me again today, and thank you, Gabe, for coming on. But get into Game 2 a little bit as that, Carolina survives in double overtime. They win it twice. Jankowski gets a goal called back because of an offside. But kind of going into some stats before we talk about gameplay, you want to see more out of your big guys. I think, Aho obviously had that really good goal, phenomenal pass from Jordan Staal as the penalty kill expired. However, he was 7 for 20 in the dot at 35%. We're going to talk about faceoffs probably a lot right now just because that's where Carolina's getting whooped. You don't normally see that for Carolina, and Ottawa, you would think Ottawa would be up 2-0 in the series the way that, they're being able to control the dot. Carrier had 12 hits in 15 minutes time on ice. Really impressive. I mean, that's how crucial he is to the team when he's able to lay the boom, in double overtime like it's the first shift of the game. He's a very valuable player for us. Ehlers needs to shoot more. That was my kind of evaluation. And what's crazy is he had 5 shots, but he had multiple chances in overtime, but really in regulation. Just he had multiple chances to shoot, and he likes doing those drop passes to Jordan Staal and Martinook. But the issue is Martinook and Staal aren't as fast as him, so he usually just drops it off to open space, and a senator comes and picks it up. But yeah, my only critique on him right now would be to shoot the puck a little bit more. Jankowski, 3 blocks for him, so he was really good defensively, like he is that two-way center. Had that goal called back in overtime, which was, I don't think it was offside. You look at Martinook, he was there, he was fine. Staal was readjusting the puck to pass it to Martinook. He spoke about it in a press conference. It is what it is. Puck don't lie. You end up winning the game, but unfortunate there. But back to Jankowski, he was 6 for 17 in the faceoff dot, 33 or 35%. So it's just not going to be able to happen. Even Staal struggled in Game 2. You can't have that. Jarvis looks flat and definitely not like himself. I think he's hurt. That's my biggest assumption to make. We obviously know he's dealt with a shoulder injury for a good bit of time, and that sucks. That he hasn't been able to have surgery, get it fixed, and I don't know if he injured it again when he went into contact with Artem Zub. I don't really know what happened, but Jarvis, he doesn't look like himself. He's not really engaging in many board battles. He's not winning them. He's just out there, kind of skating around, and it hasn't hurt Carolina yet, but if if your best two-way sniper ends up, not performing the way you want in the first round, there's definitely going to be questions for round 2. I talked about it. I said let's say Game 3, let's say Jarvis does some more of the same stuff. I could definitely see a lineup change, and people were really bashing me on social media about that decision, and I get it. Look, you don't want to mess up the Staal line, but I think for one game, if you swap Ehlers and Jarvis, you try to get Jarvis a little step back. Look, Jarvis was originally, when he kind of first got in the NHL and whatnot, he was kind of tossed on that Staal line, and I think why not throw that back, allow Ehlers to play with some more fast-paced guys. I think Ehlers is gonna get better out of it. I think Jarvis could as well. It doesn't hurt if you go up 3-0. it doesn't hurt at all. So we'll see if Jarvis is able to come back and find his game again. And Jordan Martinook, dog. That was my evaluation of him. Dog. He's the greatest Carolina Hurricane as far as the way he represents the culture and the way he represents everything. He came out there with a penalty shot, missed it. He tried glove side on Ullmark. That was a mistake. Ullmark's glove was about as good as it can get. So he tried that. Wasn't too well. Ends up redeeming himself and in double overtime with a really nice shot that I think got deflected off of Shabbat or Sanderson. I'm not too sure the defenseman, but it did go off of a defenseman up for Ottawa into the back of the net. Martinook, he's playing with a bunch of energy right now, and we'll talk about tonight in the preview, but that's something that you want to see going for Martinook. Jordan Staal was the best player for Carolina. He's been really good in this series, and no, he's not he's not gonna have 5 goals, but what he's doing for Carolina is really important. He's laying the body. He fought Tkachuk. Like I said, he wasn't great at the dot, 10 for 24 with 41%. So he wasn't great in the dot, but he's still playing really well outside of everything else, and I think if he can keep that up, that's a big reason why Carolina is up 2-0 right now because the captain. Logan Stankoven, sniper. That was my evaluation, and I talked to him about the first goal he scored to open up the series. On Omark 5-hole. It wasn't his shot location for that one. I'll give a little spoiler, but this guy's got a release, so he can release it in anywhere, and him having that quick release allowed him to be able to put the puck in the back of the net the first time. This time, Taylor Hall from right behind the net, kind of on the right side, able to feed Stankoven. And again, that release, it's so quick. He's able to get it off in front of the net. And I talked to him about, the work that he does in front of the net as well. So stay tuned for that. Listen, and Svechnikov, undisciplined. This was a horrible game for Svechnikov. Undisciplined and played no defense. A lot of Canes fans talked about it in the first game, how disciplined he was. I talked about it. I said, he's very disciplined. He looks mature. And then he must have saw it and was like, nah. And because he took a couple bad penalties, and just overall not really defense. Offense is there. I think he's close to getting a goal, but we want to see him play that all around game because, shockingly, if you're playing that bad defensively against a Tim Stützle line, it's going to be pretty bad. So, Keandre Miller, 35 minutes a night, or 35 minutes last night, or not last night, but, double overtime game with 5 blocks. He's turned into he's a dog, man. It's such a good get for Tulski. And it's, you can say it's too soon, but he's a good player, fits the system, good all-around guy. I do think that he could be like that Slavin clone kind of with his size, his speed, his ability to use the stick. Really, really good player. Sean Walker, so that D pairing there, Sean Walker was a +2 with 5 hits. That pair continues to be a really good two-way group. And then Anderson, 37 for 39. I said, is he back? ? I think so. I mean, yeah, you look at the Cousins goal, that one sucked. But other than that, I mean, he's been a dog. 37 for 39 in that double overtime game. He's a big reason Carolina's up 2-0. He was in the starter's crease yesterday. So as we transition into this Game 3 preview, does he get the net tonight? Most likely he does. You're going into Ottawa and you're away. So you're not going to have last change, but also you understand that Ottawa is going to be bumping the way Carolina was in Game 1. I'm interested to see if Tkachuk tries to fight again, or if there's any type of fight, because that Ottawa is going to want to hype up that Sens crowd, and that's a good way to do so is dropping the mitts. But yeah, Anderson should be in net tonight. Ways to win. I think you have to limit that Tim Stützle line, because you look at that second game, and to me, and to a lot of people, even the announcers on ESPN, they thought the game was way open than the first game, and they thought it was more north and south. And I talked to Logan Stankoven about that. I said, I asked him, I was like, did it feel pretty open north to south, because it looked like it, and he said no, he thought it was just like the first game, tight checking. So it's definitely interesting to see those different point of views. I'm not going to argue with him because he played, I didn't. So but it's interesting to see kind of. That's a tight checking game to them. That's kind of interesting, because to a lot of other people, it looked pretty open. And, there's a lot of chances that wasn't there in the first game. So you're going to need another tight checking game. You're going to need to lay the body. Physicality-wise, that's what you need. Like, you want to get back to that physical level of being able to, not send a message, but being able to go out there and lay the body, right? I mean, it gives energy to the whole group. So if you're able to do that, that's going to be pretty big. And I think looking at some of your guys like Carrier, he's a guy that throws the body, and you're going to want that to happen. Does D'Lo get into the series? Probably not, right? That fourth line's playing really well. I had a good conversation on Twitter with someone about Robinson and Delirier and kind of that fourth line, and I'm an advocate for both of them. I love Robinson, I love Delirier. They both can go. I don't care who plays, because they both really do give that fourth line, some power of their own. Robinson's got that speed. He's got the two-way ability. He knows how to use his size. Delirier knows how to use his size, but not only that, he's physically opposing, and he's someone out there that is going to get into the heads of Ottawa, and they both have values. So if you flipped a coin every single night the Canes played a game for D'Lo and Robinson, I wouldn't care. I'd be okay with it. But that fourth line has to continue to be good because it's been a really good line for Carolina. The second and fourth line, those two have been clicking. I can't imagine that's going to stop right now. Again, last change, though, so we'll see what matchups look like tonight. That's going to be a big thing. Can Freddie continue to be the guy? That'll be interesting. And I think looking at some face-off numbers and for Carolina, because that's something tonight that I'm going to be really looking at. They are 39% in the dot this playoff series, and that's not great. I get it, 2 games played, but they're pretty bad. Even strength face-off percentage is 35%. Power play is 40%. So that's a big reason. Obviously, not too many power plays in that second game, but that's a reason that Carolina didn't score the first game when they had 5 chances is because of the face-off chances. The only area they're dominating in the face-off dot is shorthanded, that's a great area to dominate in. It helps you kill penalties, but I can't really sit here and say that it's got to continue because it can't. Carolina has to do something to try to neutralize the face-off for these guys. Maybe if that's tying them up, if that's if that's a lineup change, is that a last change type of thing? I'm not too sure, but we're gonna turn it to Gabe. He's got 2 questions, and then you guys are gonna be sent to the Stankoven podcast. Listen to that. That's about 12, 13, 14 minutes long. Kind of in that range, and I hope you guys do enjoy that podcast. And Gabe, hit me with those questions.
Yeah, so I know you spoke about this at the beginning of the podcast, but my first question is, do you think that second line and fourth line will keep up the production that's already been there this entire series, or do you think that the first line and third lines are going to have to step up?
Well, you would imagine at some point you're going to have to get something from your top dogs, whether that's the first line, third line. I mean, I know you got the all-hole goal last game, but I think it's the play style for that second line. I don't know. I think the only people that can really stop them is themselves. I think they're dogs. They all have the same mentality. They're playing on the same exact level. They know what each other's going to do, and that second line's tight. Halsey, Stankoven, and Blake, that's a tight group. And you look at that fourth line, same thing. They play it the same way. Like, you have Kyrie that's going to go in there, throw the hits. You have Robinson that's going to be two-way. You have Jankowski who's going to be able to play up the middle and have a really, really good two-way game. So, in my opinion, I think they're going to stay hot. I think the issue is Carolina hasn't played their best game. Second and fourth line have been there. Third line has had moments they've been there for sure. First line, not too many, but they've shown glimpses. Carolina isn't even playing their best hockey. They're going to be a threat.
And my final question I got for you is, who's your X factor for the Hurricanes for the rest of this series?
That's a good one. X factor. I'm going to go Svechnikov. I think we need to see a little bit more out of him. I get that he's got the shots. I think it's 10 shots, right? I think he's got a ton of shots. And he's shooting, and that's what you want. He's close to a goal, but I think it's going to be him. Can he stay physically opposing? Can he, not get in the penalty box? Can he, when we get power play opportunities, can he help that power play with his playmaking and sniping abilities? I'm going to go Svechnikov. I think he's he had a really good playoffs last year. I think he's going to be able to continue that. So, thank you, Gabe, for those questions. We will send you guys over to the Stankoven podcast now. Enjoy that. Thank you guys for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is the 47th overall pick in the 2021 NHL Draft, Carolina Hurricanes center Logan Stankoven. Logan, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's get right into game one, right? I mean, captains dropped the gloves off the face-off. Can you kind of walk me through that? Was that something that was premeditated by Stahl, or was that something that just off the fly, Tkachuk asked him out the dot?
I'd asked Jordo after the game what was going on there, and he felt like he had a sense of something was going to happen, but it was just kind of spur of the moment. I guess Tkachuk had asked him to drop the gloves, and he wasn't afraid to, and I thought he did a great job. So I think he got the takedown, and good on him for stepping in there and started the series off with a bang.
Yeah, hey, we know you can do it, right? Your first career fight came against Martin Ferravari, again, in Washington. So, are you going to get in there and throw him down?
I don't know about that. I mean, if something happens, I'll be there to stand in there for my teammates, but I don't know if I'll be doing that anytime soon, or at least I won't be the one starting it. So we'll see, though. Never say never.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, Raleigh doesn't need a fight to get going, especially come playoff time. The crowd's always there. It's always electric. But even then, after that, I mean, it's got to be buzzing in that arena. Can you try to take me through what's it like? Stahl just takes down Tkachuk. What's going through you right now? You're like, oh, this is playoff hockey.
Yeah, that was crazy. It gets the fans into it early. I think obviously both teams are pumped, and just two good leaders going at it. I thought it was great for the game, and just great atmosphere, and obviously the crowd loved it as well. So it was.
Yeah, well, you break the ice, right? You get the first goal. Jackson Blake with a nice little touch pass to you. You're kind of, middle slot there. You release it. Was that kind of the goal going 5-hole? You went off Linus Ullmark's, skate there. Was that kind of the goal 5-hole?
Not really. If you kind of watch replay there, when I go to shoot, there was a couple sticks that had kind of gotten in the way or kind of made contact with my stick, so I didn't get the greatest shot off, and fortunately enough, it found the back of the net, and it was kind of a slow roller. Like it took a little bit to get into the net, but it just worked out really well, and good play by Blaker there, nice little one touch, and it was a nice way to start off the series.
Yeah, I mean, we know you with your release. You can do it in a phone booth, right? You don't need much room. Whether there's stakes hitting it, that's that feeling's got to be amazing to being able to break it open. But one thing that I noticed about your game in game one was the physicality. I mean, even last night, you're not scared to be able to lay the body. You had 6 hits against Ottawa in that first game. So was that just message sending? Was that something that you wanted to do, go in game one, and send a message?
Yeah, I think it was just as a group, something we wanted to, I guess, I wouldn't say send a message, but just know that, we just want to wear them down as the series goes on. I think game 2 on our side, we didn't have as much of that, which, now going, back to Ottawa for games 3 and 4, we're going to have to, obviously we won't have the home crowd with us, so we're going to have to try and find that within us, and I think bring that physicality again, and
going into last night, obviously double overtime game. I'm sure the legs, were pretty numb at that point, but going in, to that second overtime, you go into the intermission. What's Rod's message in that locker room like whenever you're going into a double overtime game?
Usually he shows a few clips, just a video, and then just talks about what we we can be better at, and what we need to keep on doing. So that's kind of his message, and yeah, he's good at relaying the message and getting it through to us.
Yeah, and Carolina, we thought we had it in overtime with the Jankowski goal and the offsides, and did you get a clear look at it? Were you able to see it from the views that everybody else was looking at it?
I didn't see it right away. I took a look at it after the game. Yeah, that was a crazy few minutes there, and then obviously getting the penalty shot too there. That was pretty wild. The place would have went nuts if Martinook scored, but I'm glad it worked out all well, and he was the one that ended up scoring it anyways, the game winner. So it worked out well, and I guess full circle moment. So it was great.
Yeah, and going back, I mean, obviously you score the first goal last night in Game 2 yet again on the power play. Hall kind of sets you up right there. And one thing that I've always noticed about your game is you're always in front of the net. You're not scared to go there. Is that something that you've worked at and you've gotten better at, or is it something that it's just inside of you? You're just always going to be in front of the net.
I think I've always had it just from growing up, and yeah, I think you can't be afraid to go there, and so many different things can happen. Rebounds or tip-ins, or you never know. Sometimes the puck might just hit you and bounce in. So I think good things happen when you go to the net, and a lot of the goals this time of the year come right in front of the net. So that's just kind of my mindset.
Yeah, not only did did you score, but you saved the goal as well. The puck was kind of trickling to Freddie's net, and you were able to kind of sweep it out there. What was going through your mind there?
Yeah, it was that was kind of a weird one. I didn't really see where I thought maybe it had squeaked through 5 hole on him, but I kind of looked behind him and I saw the puck slowly, heading toward the goal line there, and yeah, just tried to get the puck out of harm's way. Actually, if you look at the replay, I tried to put it back into Freddie, but I had enough time where I could pull it out and then get it out of our own zone there. So I'm glad I could help him out. He's been great for us all series so far, and we're gonna need that again from him in the next few games.
Yeah, no, he's been phenomenal. I mean, the best goalie in the playoffs so far. He's the saves he made just to keep the game in. I mean, you were playing, right? So you know how many chances Ottawa had. What does Freddie mean? Even Bussy, right? The ability for those guys to be able to stick in and really, when the offense maybe isn't going where we're scoring 4 to 5 goals, how big is it for them to stay strong?
Yeah, I think throughout a series, when you have two, really tightly contested teams, each team's gonna have their pushes and kind of their highs and lows. So when there are mistakes, which are gonna happen, it's key that you have goaltenders back there that you can rely upon, and just they don't have to do anything fancy. Just make a save at the right time, and that could push your team forward and hopefully get the momentum back. And Freddie's been able to do that for us this series.
Did you see a pretty big difference in Game 1 compared to Game 2? Because when I'm watching it, you can tell Game 1, a little bit more tight checking, not a lot of space. Game 2, it was north-south. It was pretty wide open. Did you kind of notice that?
Honestly, I didn't notice it. I thought so far at least, I think both games have been pretty tight checking. I feel like maybe it's just matchups or what lines you're going out against, but I feel like both games so far have been pretty tight checking. I think maybe for the top lines, I guess, like the top guys, I think they have had their chances. Like, Stützle's had plenty of chances to score, and a few of their top guys, and same with our top guys as well. We've had, Jarvie and Svech and Aho have had their chances as well. So I think for most part it's been pretty tight, and yeah, it was nice to pull that one out last night. But now we gotta, we did our job at home. Now it's time to go on the road and hopefully, get at least one. It'd be great to get both, obviously, but that's the plan.
Yeah, well, you guys are up 2-0, right? What's something that maybe what's the biggest focus going at it? You're up 2-0, but you haven't kind of played the way that you guys, a complete game. What's the biggest area that Carolina can focus on going into game 3?
I think just trying to get to our game and do it consistently. I think we've had moments where we have the pressure on and we're forcing them to make mistakes. But I thought at times last night Ottawa pushed and had some really good spurts. So we got to try and weather that. And obviously they're going to be excited going home and playing in front of their home fans. So. We're gonna obviously take some look at the video and make some improvements, and there's always room to grow, not only as a team but individually too. So I feel like I have more to give myself, and yeah, there's just always things you can get better at.
Yeah, so kind of going into some other talk, how much different is this year's playoff team compared to last season? Does it feel like there's different vibes in the locker room? Does it feel different on the ice?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I think this year we have a lot of depth. I mean last year we did too, but I think this year we have we added a couple key pieces like Ehlers and Miller on the back end and yeah, just to name a few guys. But I think being able to add those guys to provide some scoring and some lockdown D, I think that's huge for us. And I think sometimes the first series is the hardest, and Ottawa's a good team over there. So we're gonna have to keep pushing, and we can't take our foot off the gas.
Yeah, I mean Ottawa and analytically, it's the toughest matchup that Carolina really could have gotten just based off the way they play. Their big face-off type of style. Who's kind of someone in that locker room that's your guy you're going to for a question? Who's that mentor that you have?
I'd probably say obviously just Jordo being the captain. I'd say Martinuk, Aho for sure. I'd probably say the older guys just because they've been through it and you learn things as you go on in your career. I mean, I've only been in the league for I guess 2.5 years now, and you do learn things as you go on. And when guys like that have played, 10 plus years in the league, they've got a lot of things figured out. So I think those are good guys to lean upon when you need some information or need some help.
I'll ask you one more. This one's for the fans right here. Who's the best chirper on the team?
The best chirper on the team. I'd probably have to say, I don't know. I'd probably say Svetch or Nick Delorier. Um,
Oh, has D'Lo came in and gave you some guys?
yeah, no, he's great on the bench. Like he's vocal. He's not afraid to say anything. I think he's a great ad for us. Just I think something that we were kind of missing. He's a guy that's going to have your back every time. So it's great to have him on our side now, and definitely not a guy I'd want to mess with.
Well, Logan, thank you very much for coming on. I really, truly do appreciate it. I know you're busy man, busy schedule going on in the playoffs. So thank you again for hopping on. I want to wish you luck for the rest of the season and rest of the series, and go bring that cup to Carolina.
Yeah, thanks, Nolan. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thank you, Logan.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take care.
Take care.